Welcome to Photoshop Party. I don't even know what episode this is. It's been almost 4.5 years now. Since 20
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
started. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I think we have more people now than when we started too, but that's okay. We're having fun. So let's get down to business and see what happens.
That's the old ad, dude.
Again,
That's not the new one I sent you.
well, like I said, I have issues going on with computers, so we will fix that on the next issue. No, that's the one you just sent me, because I just took it off your text and dragged it into my Photoshop. So it is the new ad. It doesn't matter anyway, because
Yep, it is. You're right.
call me out like that. West Coast School, June 8th to the 13th, 2025, Hyatt Regency in Valencia, California. If it's anything like last year, we are going to have a blast. That was a great hotel, good time. So if you haven't signed up yet, get busy and sign up. We got some great instructors. Suzette Allen's going to be talking about video. Scott Detweiler going to be talking about AI and portrait photography. Michael E. Gordon, nature and landscape. Joe Glida, commercial photography demystified. That is the class I want to take. Sandra Pierce, painting and with a twist in, I'm sure she's going to be doing Photoshop stuff like she always does. And Mr. Pete Rizak, all light done right. Okay, why you do that? Let's try that again. Okay, my shortcut's not working. There we go. And the one class I didn't mention is the class you got to take. And it is Photoshop 0 to 60. I have 3 people signed up right now. Anthony's one of them. And he's going to learn a lot in that class again. We're going to talk about all kinds of cool stuff, new stuff, old stuff, basic, intermediate, and advanced. So come learn about Photoshop, and there's a whole bunch to learn. And last but not least, we have a birthday out there today, Mr. Mel.
Jesus.
And I photographed this cake about 20 minutes ago using AI.
Isn't that incredible?
The cake fits his personality. It's cute.
Never mind. I'm not going to
See, where's the mute button, Anthony?
I'm not even going to go there. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we are going to make this image. I believe that's the image I'm working. No, we're going to make this image something close to print comp worthy. That is going to be a challenge. So first thing I'm going to do is bring it into camera. I asked Anthony to send me his images that he wanted me to look at. So I picked this one. And as you can see, the light here is a bit challenging. You got split light on his face, but you got a lot of highlights and stuff where it's going to be a challenge to get to. So the first thing I do when I go into Photoshop is I click on auto for edit. And what that does, you can see it brings up my shadows. It does a lot of the work for me. It brought the highlights down. It brought my shadows up so I can see what I'm doing here. And now we just need to fix a few things in there as well. You can see we got highlights on the dog. Highlight on his leg, we need to fix that down the road. We got some burned out spots here. No matter what I do, even if I take the whites all the way down, that helped a little bit. Not quite as burned out. So that gives us a good starting point. Texture, clarity, and all this stuff. I don't touch that anywhere while I'm working. I leave it alone. If I want to do texture, if I want to do detail, I will do that inside of Photoshop. Dehaze, sometimes I'll add some dehaze to it. It just clears things up in the background, which is really cool. Color mixer, not a whole lot to do here, so I'm not going to even touch it. Color grading, I don't do anyway. If I did detail, I could do denoise, but I don't think there's a need for denoise. I mean, this is shot at ISO 250, and there is not a whole lot of noise in that sky. You have to really zoom in, and it ain't there. Optics, definitely every single time, remove chromatic aberrations. And if you look at his hat, the rim around his hat, you can see this line going across here. And what we'll do is remove chromatic aberration. That line goes away. So it is on. And lens profile, let me go back to full screen. If I do lens profile, you can see it does just a slight calculation to make it fit the lens that was shot on. And this was shot on a 70-200 at 180 millimeters, f7.1 at 400ths of a second. I know all about what you did, Anthony.
Uh-oh.
I'm spying on you. And defringe, I don't worry about right now. Lens blur, don't need it because it's already blown out in the back. Calibration, I'm not going to do. So if I wanted to, I could open this up even bigger. What I do is right click on the image up here. And if I click on enhance, which I'm not going to do because it takes too long to do it, it says denoise or super resolution. Super resolution basically doubles the image size, so you have something really good to work with. I'm not going to do that because it takes too long. So everything the way it is, I'm going to hit open, and we'll go open, 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 open. Oh, wow, that took long enough. So on the face, not a whole lot to work on there. The one thing that really bothers me right here is on the leg. So I'm going to try the remove tool and just draw around this area and let Photoshop do all the work. Boom. Just that easy. I mean, it's crazy easy. Probably along the range right here, I'll try and get rid of the highlight there. Maybe zoom in a little bit. Command plus to zoom in. Hit return. And it wasn't perfect, but it will be. Maybe. And I'm working with my mouse and not my Wacom tablet right now. I got my Wacom tablet hooked up to my desktop, which is being replaced as we speak. Anything that really needs cleaning up that you see in there? Dwight, you got the perfect eye. What would you clean? Or
No, it's with that auto setting, that is makes it really, really fast because you got good details in the dark area all over, and the highlights are really taken down so you can see detail of the texture of the jacket or else the coat.
It's amazing how that auto works. A lot of people stay away from it and they start going over the sliders back and forth and all the different sliders. And it's like, auto pretty much knows what you need. It'll get you in the ballpark. We'll say that. And it's a good start. So we've gone from, this is beginning. This is where we've gone in just a couple seconds. Just taking out some of the highlights that need to go away, the distractions, as they say. let's go ahead. I think with this image, I would go make it a black and white image. If I was going to enter it in print comp, I love this. I love the color. In fact, let's go and do this. Image, duplicate, copy. And we'll go back. No, never mind. We'll just keep it there. And so I'm going to work on the original. I'm going to make it a black and white. I like Silver Effects Pro. Or what you can do is on your, move this guy off to the left so I can see my bottom down here. Down in your adjustment layers, you have black and white, color balance, hue saturation. I'm going to go to black and white. And here I can adjust the reds individually or the yellows individually. Drop the tone down a little bit. And just make adjustments how you like it. The lower I go with the blues, the more detail you have in the sky. If I take the blues up, I blow the sky out. So definitely want to lower them down. The reds take care of his face. And that's a good start into black and white, but there's more. Minimize that. Go into Silver Effects. No, I don't want to upgrade. Say what? No, I've got Silver Effects. What are you doing? My trial has expired. It's not a trial.
You're going into 6. Don't you have 7 on there?
I haven't got 7 yet. I have
Okay.
8. I got the password to 8, but I'm not ready to install it yet.
That's the 7, you mean? There's no 8's not out.
I got the beta version.
Ah, gotcha.
So, okay, then we're not going to use Silver Effects. When things don't go right, you say cancel. So what I'm going to do in this case, you get so reliant on programs, you forget about all the other stuff in there. I'm going to go into brightness and contrast, and I'm going to bring up some contrast in here. Just a little bit of brightness there. If I go too far on contrast, you see the shadows start to darken down. If I go the other way, it just looks muddy. So. Well, I got so many tricks in Silver Effects that I wanted to use, and it's not going to work for me. That's not good. So let's go ahead and we'll do Command Option Shift E or Control Alt Shift E, which is the claw. And what that does, it takes all the layers beneath. I was on the top layer, brightness and contrast, and I just made it take all of those, flatten it down, put it up on top as one layer. And what I'll do is I'm going to do a camera raw, go into creating a new mask. I'm going to do radial gradient. I'm going to draw a radial around him and inverse it so that he's not selected, but everything around him is. And I'm going to drag my exposure to the left. In fact, let's feather it up to about 70. I like it at 70. And then the exposure, I try to match the exposure or get close to the exposure with the feather that I have between here and exposure. What that does, it makes it so you don't have, if you do a low feather, that's what it comes out as. You see a sharp edge. But if you bring your feather up to about 70, you can bump your exposure down a whole lot. So we'll just go ahead and do that. And now we have a mask, you have a feather around him, but you don't really notice it that much. It's just a soft vignette going around. So we have that. Let's go ahead and crop him. It's set for 10 by 8. Let's do 8 by 10 because that's my normal. Or hit clear. Bring it in so it focuses on him. A little bit tighter. In fact, this bottom corner, I got that bright spot down there. So we'll get rid of that and just drag it up a little bit. And so we've gone from the very beginning, from here to here in just a couple of seconds. In fact, I'm going to open that file up again. Right click, develop settings, clear settings. And we'll open it up so we can put them side by side. So you go to window or range, tile all vertically. And this is the original as is image straight out of camera. And here's the black and white. You'll notice this little red on the right-hand side is super bright along here. And I'm thinking, knowing the judges like I know them, they will complain about that. Right, Dwight?
Yes, Dennis complains all the time.
Yeah, he can't defend himself because he's not.
No.
Go ahead and go to our remove tool. And I'm just going to lasso this area. And the thing about the remove tool, if you haven't heard it before, you don't have to paint in the whole shebang. You can just lasso it and it fills in the rest for you. Let's see what it does. That is not bad. I can live with that. I'll move this guy out of the way. Anything to fix that you like, Anthony?
The only thing that bothers me is the dog's face is kind of really bright.
And that's
I
why
know it's one of the images. I only had like 3 minutes with this guy, and the dog took off, and
yeah.
his mule that he rides is about 15 hands and took off, and it was like chaos. So
Okay. So
this
let's
this is
do
what we
the-
got just before everything went crazy. I think the dog found a turkey out there or something like that because he just took off.
Okay, let's dodge and burn, or let's burn the face down a little bit. Instead of using the dodge and burn tool in the toolbar, let's go ahead and go Option or Alt, click on a new layer. And we're going to call this Burn Dog. D-A-W-G, dog. And we're going to change the mode from normal to overlay. And I'm going to fill it with 50% gray, although you don't have to do this. Right here it says fill overlay neutral color 50% gray. You got it. And you can see it did exactly that. So I'm going to hit D for default for my colors. So I hit D, changes everything to black and white. And B for brush, and I don't want that brush. It don't work. Soft round brush. And opacity, I'm going to start at 7%. I start off really light when I do this. Because if you do dark, let's say if I do 100%, I mean, it goes super dark really quick. So what we'll do is take the opacity run it down to 7%, and then you can just build it up as you go. So what we'll do is just paint in the highlights here. And the one thing about doing it this way is the fact that when you do dodge and burn with the dodge and burn tool, it tends to change the color dynamic where it starts to turn it brown like it actually got burned. So at 7%, we're just kind of dodging it in, or burning it in, I should say. And I don't know if you want the collar removed or leave the collar on, or we can just dodge it down a little bit or burn it down.
Yeah, I just dodge it down.
And that hair right there is a challenge. So before, after, let's go a little bit darker in this area here. And if you don't like what you did, you can change from black to white and then dodge what you burned. I'm gonna leave it like I did. And we'll do the same thing again, do the claw, Command, Option, Shift E, Control, Alt, Shift E, and then put a layer on top. So that's starting to look a whole lot better than that. So with this, let's go ahead and make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to flatten this whole thing down just because I'm happy where I'm at. So to flatten it, you go to the drop-down menu on the right-hand side of your layers panel and go down to flatten image. Used to be way down here on my desktop. On my laptop, it's way up here. So explain that one to me. Flatten it, Command J to make a copy of it. Let's go to image, canvas size, and I'm going to add, let's say 3 inches all the way around. So to add 1.5 inches on the left, 1.5 inches on the right, 1.5 inches on top, 1.5 inches on the bottom. And then what I'll do is change the color of the mat from this dark bluish. We'll come over here to gray. Back, let's go 0, 0, 84%. So it's not quite white, but it's not quite gray. Click OK. Click OK. So now you have the start of a border. In fact, I think I'm not happy with that. It's a little too dark. I want this to be more like an art piece. Undo it, image, canvas size, change it to 4 inches, a little bit more. And let's brighten it up just a little bit from 88 to, let's go 92. And I'm just pulling these numbers out of my head till I like it. And that's a little bit better. And from there, let's add a little bit of a stroke around there. So we'll take this, let's make another copy of the top layer. Double click on the right side and the blue on the layer, not on the word, but out to the right of it. Double click on it and it brings up your layer styles. Or if you want to do it the old fashioned way, go down to FX down at the bottom and go to stroke, and it brings up your stroke. And it's set to green. I think green's a perfect color for this because he's outdoors, natural kind of guy. Okay, so you don't believe me. Let's go ahead and change the color of the stroke. Let's sample that and we'll go really dark gray. Click OK. And one thing about the stroke, let me go back into that. Right now it's set to 10 pixels. 10 pixels doesn't look too huge, but when you get up here, I've seen people do a stroke this big and it just takes away from the image. So you want to take it down. They say between 4 and 6. In this particular size image, it's actually a 17-inch image right now. So I would say 10 is okay, because when we shrink it down to normal size, you'll be happy with the stroke. Click OK. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the top layer and I'm going to change the fill from 100% to 0. And you can see all it did was take out the picture. Any effects that you do to it, it leaves the effects, but takes out the picture. So the reason for that is I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to do a Command or Control T, which is free transform. Come up to my top toolbar up at the very top, it says 100%. Let's go to 103 on the width and 100, and unclick this so I can do them separately. Let's go with 101. Nope, going to be 102. So that the width and the height match on all 4 sides. And when I click OK up here, it almost looks like it matches. If you have too much on the side and not enough on top, it looks uneven and gives the judges something to draw upon. So we've gone from here to here in under 30 minutes. Is this a print competition worthy print? It may merit. It's not a lone image, but it may merit. What are your thoughts, Dwight?
Yes, looks like it really is close, especially if it's in journalism or for reportage or illustrative. I think it's no, even in portrait work, I think this might do has a really good chance.
In fact, what I would do, let me flatten this image again. Flatten, 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 flatten. Boom, done. I'm going to hit my zoom key and I'm going to circle this area right here. R for remove. To me, that's a distractor. May even do the same thing there. A little bit, get rid of that stray thing. Anything the judges can complain about, you take it out. So you've gone from there to there, just taking that out. It's just a distractor. I mean, you got this bright spot right in the middle. Boom, gone. I might even burn down this area on his collar. So go back to our layers, Option or Alt click on new layer and change it to overlay. This time I won't do the gray, and we'll do the same thing. B for brush, set to black at 7%. It's not really doing a whole lot. Okay, I guess it is doing a whole lot. You just don't notice it. And then paint back the area where I overpainted. My overspray, flatten the image, Command E to flatten it down. Go to B for brush. Go up here to Collins logo. And what we'll do is put this at an angle, white 100%, because I did all the work. That way Anthony can't steal it. And there you go. Now the question is, how did I turn my logo at an angle? What you do, you can do a little at a time by holding the right or left arrow keys, or if you hold shift at the same time, it goes faster. So there you go. Any questions on what I did there? No questions? Okay, let's do this.